What's going on? It's V the Designer. Drake and MOS Def are going at it. Let's get into it.
V has come too.
So, in my opinion, Drake is 100% hip hop. But hip hop is a smaller genre than pop, and Drake is obviously a bigger artist than most rappers. He is a pop star. He is an icon. And you can actually see it like in the Scary Hours joint that he released recently, Scary Hours 3, like on Red Button, he kind of says it like right here.
Taylor Swift, the only nigga that I ever rated. Only one could make me drop the album just a little later. Rest the
Funny line. Like, I mean, to call like Taylor Swift, like, it's funny. Anyway, Drake, even in first person shooter mode, like he's talking about like he's one away from Michael Beat It. Like he's talking like he's talked about the Beatles. Drake has transcended hip hop. And that's not a knock on hip hop. It's just pop is always going to be bigger than any other genre because of the nature of what pop music is. It's music for everybody. So if you're walking through Target, if you're walking in the mall, all of that, like MOS is not wrong. It's just that MOS is coloring it in a negative light. Drake is a pop artist. He is. Is he hip hop? Yes. That being said, there's more to hip hop than making music. There's more to hip hop than being successful. Hip hop was supposed to do more than what it's doing today. Hip hop was supposed to have a message. It was supposed to have social commentary. And here's the reality of it. It does have those aspects, but those aspects are not highlighted because those things, once you start talking about politics, religion, things of that nature, people tend to, get a little uncomfortable. And that's not good for money. So this is kind of the same situation of like shut up and dribble. This is the same situation that you're kind of looking on in the NFL where, there were certain NFL players that were going to be on the right side of the history taking the knee, and then there's everybody else. If it's all about money, it can be that. But the beauty of hip hop, at least in the early days, was that it wasn't all about money. Hip hop started in the Bronx, New York, back in the freaking 70s now, and New York, like the Bronx was poor. Like it was not good. It was not a decadent space. You know what I mean? It wasn't really until the 1990s that, it started getting a little bit more commercial and we started glorifying the money and things of that nature. But even when we did glorify money and all this other stuff, it was kind of a come-up story. It was kind of a rags to riches inspirational kind of thing. It wasn't just doing it to do it. And Drake is so prosperous. He's so popular. I don't think he has to do this. He doesn't have to make mall music. He doesn't have to be this pop star. Or he can do both, as we saw with For the Dogs album and then also for the Scary Hours 3, like him being able to release those back to back. He is 100% hip hop, and he's one of the greatest talents and writers in this era. And I don't know when his run stops. And that's why this beef with MOS Def is so telling. And where I kind of feel for Drake, but at the same time, this was kind of his undoing. See, because here's the thing. Lyricism and message is kind of memed out right now for the lyrical miracle rappers, right? The thing about that is Drake is the most popular and most prominent artist, and he is 100% a lyrical miracle rapper, or at least he was. Like, he's making these pop records. But the thing about a Drake is that he can do both. When I heard the Scary Hours 3, there's a lot of artists out there who can do stuff that deserve to be on the For the Dogs album. There's a lot of space there for a lot of what artists are doing right now. But the skill set required to do something like the Scary Hours 3, no, not everyone possesses that. And that's kind of the beauty and the awesomeness that is Drake. Drake can do both. Not a lot of artists can do the former. Drake can speak both Elven and High Elven, basically. Like, he can do both. And that's the frustrating thing about it from a Mos Def's perspective. I think that Mos Def acknowledges that Drake is not to be played with, and that he could, if he wanted to, influence the game in whatever way he wanted to. And he just chooses not to. Drake very much plays it safe. He does not talk about politics that much, religion. He doesn't. There are many aspects of hip hop. He focuses on the aspects that make him money. Like, that's what he does, period. He does react to when the public doesn't see him in the right light. He does that. But I think even then, it's for his bottom line. You know what I mean? It's to make sure that he protects his legacy, who he is, and he has to respond. But only when he has to respond. And that's where a Mos Def comes in. Mos Def is a rap god, basically. He is of hip hop royalty. He is one of the GOATs. He never had the commercial success that a Drake would have, but he comes from the era when it wasn't about commercial respect. It was about how dope you were, how fly you were, and Mos Def is 100% cemented. It's like one of those situations when you can pay for school but you can't buy class. That's pretty much what Mos Def is. And I get it. Like, and it's extremely telling because Drake is the most successful artist in the world, and the most successful artists, his forefathers, just don't really bang with the dude. Like, you look at his beef with Jay-Z. Like, if I'm a rapper on some lyrical miracle, raised on lyricism, right? Like, you can tell Drake is a fan of this shit. Like, he's even set, like, his favorite rappers, I don't know if they fuck with him like the long way. Look at Pusha T. They are in an open and very violent beef. Like, it's bad with those two. Look at Jay-Z. Someone caught him on a hot mic saying something, and then they published it, and then it made him look like he was talking about Jay-Z in some crazy way, only because he was probably talking about Jay-Z in some crazy way. Common sense. Who beefs with Common Sense? Anyway, he beefs with Common, who's Mos Def's man, and now, of course, Mos Def doesn't have anything nice to say about you. Like, all of your superheroes, all of the GOATs are just kind of like meh, and it sucks. I could definitely see from a Drake perspective of like, you're this guy who on paper killing it. On paper checks off every single box, but he'll never ever get the credit for it. He'll never have the reach. He'll never get the love. He'll never get the roses. And that sucks. That does suck for Drake. Like, heavy is the head who bears the crown. But Drake played a role in every single one of these conflicts, and it's just gonna be his cross to bear. And again, when you're living like Drake, I'm pretty sure you could probably hire some cross bearers. Like, you could probably figure it out. But I think it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because hip hop is, one, a very young genre. The expectation is that you reach a certain age and then you just kind of die or fade out, because we treat our rappers like ball players. We think that their knees are gonna blow and then they can just basically melt out into obscurity, because we as black people, we've only seen success in one way: entertainment and sports. And rappers, typically, a lot of them they've died. They've died at very early ages. Like, a lot of our very successful and prominent artists, they pass away very young. And then our basketball players, eventually the knees blow. It just kind of is what it is. We don't know what it looks like when a artist lives safe, sound, and just continues to get better and better. I think the closest example that we see in this is comedy. Dave Chappelle's 50 and he's making some of his best work. Cat Williams, who broke the internet recently, he's in his 50s and he's probably going to make another comedy special very soon and it's going to crush. Rappers, poets, and comedians only get better with time. And they only get wiser with time. And Mos Def is an example of an elder statesman in the game who has a lot to say, and when he speaks, people listen because we as people are doing better. We're living longer, and we remember, and he still has a lot of social equity. And that's the thing. There's like social equity, and then there's clout. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, there's social equity and we care about what you have to say, and then there's popularity. And there's a huge differentiation between what Mos Def has and what most people have. I think it was kind of messed up for Ramosi. I think it was a lost opportunity. I think that ideally, Mos Def wants to be in a place where you can just pass on the torch. Because when it comes to equity, that's how you do it. You pass the torch. What's supposed to happen is, all right, Big passes the torch to Jay. Big lost his life early in his career. He didn't really pass it to Jay, but Jay picked it up. Jay has the torch. He was supposed to kind of give it to Drake. Drake has the torch. He's supposed to give it to the next, or what have you. And that's just not what it looks like. It looks more so like multi-generational fights between one another, and there is no order, there is no hierarchy, and there is no organization. And that's the part that you kind of wish there was. I will say this. Jay, I haven't seen many elder statesmen say Hove is terrible. Like in the manner in which a Yasin Bey did. Like I haven't seen that. That's crazy to me. Like that's nuts. That's nuts to me. It just is. I haven't seen it. I've seen beefs. Jay's kind of gone through it, but he's gone through it like his peers. But I don't know. Maybe that's somewhat of an off statement. I just feel like, I guess what I'm trying to convey here is that I feel like hip hop embraced Hove far better than hip hop embraced Drake. I'll just say it like that. Edit out that last statement. I'm gonna keep it there, obviously, but edit it out. I cleaned it up for you. I did that for you. I would love to have this conversation. Continue it in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe. It's your boy V the Designer. Deuces.